Welcome to episode 527 of the Grit2Greatness Endurance podcast. We are your hosts, coaches Rich Soares, April Spildy, and Lauren Brown, and we are on a mission to help endurance athletes train smarter, race stronger, and build the grit it takes to achieve greatness. Guys, today we are talking about something that every endurance athlete is going to bump into eventually. The comfort zone. It's warm, it's cozy, and if we're honest, it's all as useful for growth as wearing a wetsuit in a kiddie pool. This episode is all about really stepping outside or lunging beyond what feels safe. Maybe you're eyeing your first high rocks and wondering, hey, is that sled? Is that the kind of drag that I'm looking for? Or maybe you've swum laps in the pool and open water looks like, hey, it's waiting for me. I got to go do that. Or maybe you've dreamed of a race distance that you just don't know if you can do. It's going to be a stretch. Hey, we're going to help you push back predictable patterns, embrace healthy risk, and try the kinds of challenges that spark real transformation, because growth never happens on the couch and breakthroughs rarely come from staying in your lane line. Coach April, what is one way you got out of your comfort zone this week?
Well, I think that's such a great question, by the way. I was kind of considering one of the things that I did this week was I put my bike back on my snap trainer and I wanted to test ride the velocity ride that I'm doing on Tuesday. And it was out of my comfort zone because I realized how hard it is to talk and teach and also stay in the greens. So this is going to be a real stretch of talent, if you will, and skill to be able to lead a class and also lead my own workout.
Yeah, we think about this in the athlete context a lot, but yeah, we're doing this as coaches. We're launching a new program, teaching, doing things that we aren't used to doing. Yeah. Well, Coach Lauren is. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a taste of how amazing Coach Lauren is, for sure.
Well, I'm going to say, truth be told, when I did my ride this morning and was recording it, I absolutely adjusted my FTP. So I was like, I am making sure that it is pretty comfortable. I think I was close to almost like 60% of my FTP. I was like,
that's a good note.
I want to be able to breathe and talk through these zone 5 pushes. And that's something I definitely will say. I've learned the hard way of breathing into the mic because I'm trying to match what everyone else is doing instead of coaching.
That's funny. I was talking to my good friend, Bill Pluck, one of the former co-hosts of the show here. He was talking because he's taught hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of spin classes. And I'm telling him, that's a hard skill it takes some skill, and I'm sure it helps your fitness, just to be able to, have a conversation in zone 4. And he was able to relate to that. I'm trying to stay in my true zone 4 when I teach these classes because I am getting out of my comfort zone this next weekend, and I've got some show and tell for you before we get into the pod. So we are doing time trial, like Tandem time trial. So for those, I don't think I've mentioned this on the show before. I've got an athlete that I'm working with, Mike. Hello, Mike. Mike is a paracyclist. He's a blind cyclist, and we are doing a stage race next weekend in Arizona. And it's the first one is a time trial, and we've got these, our fancy white socks to go with our fancy white Aero shoe covers, guys.
Ooh.
Like you see, the fancy, cover over the shoe with so we've got this thing going, and even the fancy Aero gloves.
Wow.
Now the kit, we got a speed suit coming too in the mail here. So all this is going to make me look really good, but I'm going to still be terrified on the inside. So total growth
really fast.
We are going to be doing we're going to be training on Thursday for a race on Friday, just to get comfortable handling the bike and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait
That's
to hear about it.
amazing. Yeah.
And then Saturday we've got a road race, and then Sunday, I don't know, man. Me and a crit with, somebody else on the bike, scares me. But there's a crit race on Sunday potentially we'll be doing as well.
Wow. That's
So
awesome.
Mike, let's do this, buddy. Let's get me out of my comfort zone. You think you're in your comfort zone. Anyway, April, to you.
Yeah, those growth skills, you really are leaning in, Rich. This is definitely pushing you from from comfort to fear to growth.
Yeah. Thank you.
Way to lead the charge.
Living the dream.
Just awesome. Well, let's go into our first announcement. And if you are one of those folks that might need a little nudge into your growth zone with swimming, I want you to consider checking out Tri Pool School. We just so happen to have an amazing opportunity for you where we're going to be hosting Tri Pool School here at the Air Force Academy. And that is February 28th through March 1st, coming up very shortly here. So we don't want to miss out. We even have a discount code for you, and it is Rocky Mountain Rate, all one word, where you can get $125 off of your registration. Go to the link in our show notes to register. We would love to see you on deck.
And we've been obviously talking a lot about Velocity, which is live as of February 7th.
Tomorrow. We're on tomorrow. See you Mountain Time. Let's go.
You guys have to join Coach Rich. What is it? 8 a.m. Mountain Time on Saturday, February 7th, and every Saturday thereafter. So this is going to be group rides every week with the Grit to Greatness coaches that you guys have all learned to love, listening to our voices, maybe watching us on YouTube. So if you think that we are fun on this podcast, wait until you experience the "it's not easy feeling green" feeling with Coach Rich that I am like just always hearing in my mind when I am on the bike riding in the Velocity platform, which I freaking love. You can get gritty mountain bike skills with Coach April, and that get after it aero ride with me, Coach Lauren. We do have a free 2-week trial, so absolutely check that out. The link will be in the show notes. It's also, if you head over to G2G Endurance on Instagram, you can grab that in our link in our bio. It is just $79 a month. Our Grit to Greatness premium athletes and our ambassadors do get a 25% discount. The platform's amazing. You will develop shifting, cadence, smoother pedal strokes, power control, all these amazing skills that will translate to riding outdoors and racing. Right now, we're offering 3 live classes per week. So like we said, Saturdays, 8 a.m. Mountain Time with Coach Rich, 90-minute threshold and hold theme with bike skills. Tuesdays at 6 a.m. Mountain Time, 60 minutes with Coach April, who spiked the punch, mountain bike focused. And then Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Mountain Time, it will be also a 60-minute aero NV type ride for our triathletes. So you can join now, monthly access to the 3 live classes. And again, you'll also get replays. It will be $79 a month. Grit to Greatness ambassadors, talk to your coach about the discount. And again, grab the link in the bio or at G2G Endurance on Instagram in our link there as well to grab your free trial.
Like, I am so pumped for tomorrow. I can't wait to see who shows up. And I really want to work on my marketing skills because my rides don't sound nearly as fun as April's do. Who spiked the punch?
It does serve a meaning too. Like we're talking about getting punched in the face on the bike and riding those spikes on the trails. So
yeah, but you make it sound so fun.
It is fun, Rich. I promise it's going to be a riot.
I was thinking, okay, run to the hills from hell. I don't know. Do any of those sound fun?
The hills are alive.
The hills are alive. Oh yeah, the hills are alive. That's pretty good. We'll have a Julie Andrews playlist.
Yes.
Oh, nuts. Oh, that's so much fun. All right. You guys ready to get into the meat of this? Like, what we are really here to talk about. This is, the question, to frame this as an ask a coach question is, is this good discomfort or is this danger? So discomfort or danger is going to be where we're going to play around. So I'm going to start us off talking about the good kind, the physical stress that you want. What is productive? And even though it feels a little uncomfortable. So things that are normal, right? Muscle fatigue that builds gradually. This is that slow burn feeling you get during intervals or strength work. It's challenging, it's predictable, and it's easy when and it eases when the effort ends. That heavy breathing and that, you're working hard, so you're breathing hard. It's going to, sometimes, especially when you're doing an assessment, this is kind of where you get to that, you're getting to that lactate threshold, right? And you're playing around with this really hurts and I am being forced to slow down, right? Or your breathing starts to feel uncontrolled. That's a signal that you are like really at your max workload. Soreness that helps improve with the warm up, right? So you feel a little tight, little tightness, maybe a little niggle. You see that doesn't go away, that could be a sign you got an issue there. But if it does, it's probably just an early signal. Take whatever that is. If it doesn't persist, you can train, but be careful. That's a signal that you might need some mobility, might need some body work, that sort of thing. And then fatigue that feels earned, but not alarming. So like, you're in the late stages of a 14-minute zone 4. Yeah. Your heart rate's probably up a little bit and you're probably feeling a little pooped at that point. If it feels like, wait a minute, I can't turn the pedals today. If you have a hard time getting through the warm up, that's probably a good signal you are not recovered enough. And that's where it's time to, maybe take another rest day or just make it a nice, easy zone 2 spin that day. So that's the good kind of discomfort, the good kind of uncomfortable that is productive. Coach, April, to you.
Yes, I would love to throw in a little question here for us around this, the good kind of discomfort. What was in your early time becoming a triathlete? What was something that required you to lean into the good kind of discomfort?
I mean, I could answer when I actually first started using the TriDot platform, leaning into the good kind of discomfort, because when I first started with TriDot, and we've talked about this quite a bit lately because of the Limitless initiative and people understanding the platform, but where I was definitely pushing. It's funny. I had less time overall in like zone 4 thresholds, but I had some longer thresholds. So while I was getting used to like lower amounts of zone 4 overall, it was a longer duration at a clip, if that makes sense. And I remember quite a few sessions when I first switched the platform that I was like, oh my God, like I was running, doing like a 7-minute zone 4 run, and it was like intervals that were 7 minutes, and it wasn't I didn't have joint discomfort. I didn't have anything that felt like it was alarming that I was doing something wrong, but I was like,
Hoofda.
dang, this 7-minute push is really, really trying on my, like, it was cardio, right? It was mental. It was a mental discomfort that I had to get past. But on the flip side, the one thing that I did notice as I leaned into that was I also had a really big balance of zone 2 and recovery work that balanced out those longer pushes of a lot of discomfort.
Yeah. It takes a while to get familiar with, I'm not going to die, right? This just hurts a little.
Yes, exactly.
But you don't know that line right away.
No, you don't.
You'll a lot of athletes, they're out there, they say they're giving it their all and you can see their heart rate's at 130. You're like,
you're not.
Bet you've got a little bit more to go. To your question, April, I think, for me, there was a lot of that for me, Lauren, when I was starting too, but I would say for me, it was the open water swim. just, I was so like it was jarring how different it was for me. And I did have a panic attack training for my very first Ironman. And I'd already been open water swimming a couple years by this point. But even to this day, early season cold water, it just, it does things biologically to you that you just can't control, right? It's just your, nervous system takes over.
Mhm.
And this is, we're going to really go into a deep dive on this here in just a few short weeks with an expert on open water, on just swimming safety and open water in particular. But so we'll save that for another day. But and this probably does help set up, I think, Lauren, what you're going to talk about here in just a couple of minutes, which is how much risk do you really take, and how do you mitigate those risks around things like, you're going to have to take some risks to grow, but what's the healthy, controlled way to do it?
I love that.
Yeah. Love these answers. I think for me, it was I know being a beginner triathlete, there's a lot that gets thrown at you that feels like, whoa, how do I set up my transition area? How do I get my wetsuit on?
Yeah.
Everybody's going down to the swim area right now. Am I supposed to be going down there? Right. It's like all these things especially when you're new and not well versed in all the ins and outs. I just remember feeling like I was throwing myself into the deep end right away when I started training for a triathlon, and it required a lot of figuring it out. And that definitely sparked my interest even more. It was kind of this flame, if you will, of I actually really like the discomfort here of not having all of this figured out all the time. So it was a good catalyst for me to want to learn more and be more curious about it. So thank you for that little spin with my question. I want to talk a little bit more about technical or skill discomfort, and we're going to be moving into the growth zone here. So if you think about this, we have our sphere of comfort. And then right outside of that sphere of comfort, we have fear because it's new, it's scary, it's unknown if we're going to quote unquote fail or succeed. And then just outside of that is that new zone, that growth zone where you pick up new skills, you pick up new confidence, you meet new people, and you expand what now becomes a new comfort zone. So we're going to talk about how do you get out of that zone so you can experience that growth. And one of the things that can really help is embracing how much you're going to suck at first. Going through a period of suckiness is a part of this process. And it's one of those things that it's hard to embrace at first, but it's also, if you are able to look at it from the growth mindset, we talk about this a lot, but if you're able to look at it from a place of curiosity and acceptability that you are learning, you'd be surprised how quickly you can gain a new skill, especially if you're taking it one day at a time. So expect that you're going to have awkward movements when you're learning new skills. We'll go back to the high rocks example earlier. Whether it's learning how to do lunges with a sandbag on your shoulders or burpee lunge jumps or wall balls, all of those are very technical skills that also require a high rate of aerobic capacity. And it's one of those things where you have to give yourself time to learn. So you can also apply this to trail running, to mountain biking, cornering on a bike, how to do a bunny hop over water bottles. Things like that that life is going to throw at you, that you have to give yourself the ability to learn how to do and manage. When we talk about discomfort, we also look at breathing and rhythm when we are in open water. It could be difficult, especially if sighting is an issue, if you start to swallow water, or if you're losing your rhythm early in the swim. That's normal, especially when you are just learning how to do this, and can improve dramatically with practice and short, controlled exposure to those stresses. There's also instability on new terrain. I will, every time I go out on a new trail, I understand that I'm going to be very slow and methodical because the risk of falling and crashing is extremely high. So, with the understanding of knowing that I don't know the trail yet, but I will, I give myself the ability to learn it before I just bomb down it. So, knowing that you are unsure on how to manage rocks, roots, sand, or gravel, that is something that, again, you have to give yourself the ability to learn and go slow and suck at it before you get the gain of the repetition, and that what that teaches your body on how to find better balance, proprioception, and terrain, how to scan the terrain and use it to your benefit. And then finally, heart rate. Heart rate can really spike during technical work that requires a lot of your focus and attention. So, a brief rise in heart rate on trails, climb, or skill drills can signal that concentration and effort rather than danger. Your body is simply adapting to more complex demands. So, these are all ways of acknowledging that it is going to be uncomfortable when you are developing a new technical skill, and giving yourself the ability to learn and be okay with not being great at first.
I love those tips. And it's like that fine balance, right? Between, okay, this kind of sucks and I'm a little bit uncomfortable, but I still feel safe while I am embracing this journey of getting stronger and adapting. On the, when you cross the line, right, where you become, where warning signs of too much risk, right, where all of a sudden, I don't know, am I going to hurt myself now? Am I pushing too hard, right? So this is the stop and listen zone, when the discomfort crosses that line from productive to potentially harmful. And you know, Coach April started to allude to some of these when we're, again, flirting with growth and then potential risk. If something to think about, if you're training, or if this is happening during a race, right, where you can't maintain control of movement, I instantly think of biking here, but of course this is applicable across different disciplines. But like, if you consistently are losing balance, having trouble steering, you can't control motion, and this could be taking place if you're on the trails, gravel descent, if you're, again, we'll go back to that high rocks movement patterns. The loss of control is a sign that your technical skill isn't yet ready for the demands of the environment. So when I first started really riding my triathlon bike, so I started racing with a road bike, and I was very comfortable just riding on my, my bars, my like drop bars. When I switched and was practicing riding on my aero bars, the second the wind came, I was like, oh, hell no, right? I was so nervous. I felt like I was going to blow over. And I remember distinctly, there was one day I was riding, I'm in New Jersey, I was in Asbury Park by the water, and it was, I mean, windy where I'm small, so I get blown a little bit more potentially, but I couldn't stay straight off of the path of traffic to save my life because I couldn't handle my bike. That is a great example of a time when the risk does not outweigh the benefit. I could not handle my bike in the wind. I could not figure out leaning into the wind. I was tensing up. I was like choking my handlebars because I was scared. That is where you need to realize and have that self-awareness that this is potentially harmful and I could hurt myself. And I actually need to take a step back and make sure that I do this after maybe a lighter wind and I practice and I get my handling skills. So something to keep in mind. Also, if you are reacting instead of anticipating. So again, whether it's terrain, if it's that you're in the water, if you're doing an open water swim, if movement patterns start to feel like they're happening to you rather than with you. So the wind is blowing, you're not moving with your bike. That is, again, a signal that your foundational skill isn't solid enough to safely add speed or effort. So you want to make sure that you are making sure that you are really learning to move with what's going on around you. Right. So you want to make sure that you are not just reacting, you are understanding what's happening and you can mentally make that shift. The other thing to keep in mind is that your form breaks down completely under stress. So this happens, I mean, this is an open water thing for me, I will say. This is something that yeah, if I am stressed out, so I've mentioned this before. It's like when you start to think about things because you're panicked, everything goes out the window and your form falls to total crap, right? So if your technique falls apart the moment intensity rises, so if you're doing an ocean swim, which I'm on the coast, I do those often, and the water's getting rough, and all of a sudden you're like freaking out, and every form goes to the wayside. Or another one, if you're stressed out running downhill, and all of a sudden you're just like pounding the pavement, you're not relaxed. If you're doing strength training of any form, whether it's high rocks or if you do any other sort of endurance event that might be non, swim, bike, run specific, if your reps start to feel sloppy, again, this is a really, really good sign that your foundational skill isn't solid enough, right? So you need to make sure that it's like with strength training, right? April, you could definitely relate to this, right? And Coach Rich, I know you can. It's like you don't just all of a sudden decide, wonder what I could one rep max. I'm gonna just go see how heavy can I lift when you don't even know how to sit and stand with proper mechanics, right? And then you load, 100+ pounds on your back. You actually feel that weight, and you're like, and then you panic.
Oh crap!
And you try to squat, right? So it's like you will definitely panic in that instant. Your form is going to break down real quick because you are not neuromuscularly ready to handle the load and maintain the proper movement pattern. So it makes sense when we say it, but it doesn't. Sometimes you need to take a pause and think, what am I doing? Am I actually hurting myself, or am I progressing properly to make sure that I am growing and not hurting myself?
It's a very pervasive idea that, more is better, right? And, we've learned through experience, that no, it's not. More can be really bad. You've really got to take your time and be patient. Lauren, I swear I thought you were talking about my first Xterra when you were talking about you can't maintain control or movement. So thank you. That felt all about me. I don't know if you saw me sweating over here. I was like,
I saw some movement going on. I was like, I think I'm striking a chord.
I was feeling uncomfortable just sitting here talking to you. Well, I'll tell you, honestly, these are the litmus tests, right? This, if you don't have a sounding board, you don't have a community, you don't have other good information, or you're not looking or researching it on your own, you can get yourself into trouble. So, you can't, especially when it comes to safety things. So if you can't, you're not sure you can be safe, you can't execute basic safety maneuvers. So think, you can't sight in open water. Maybe, you're questioning whether, my goggles fog up. Should I go out there? If your goggles fog up, you don't know how to clear your goggles, maybe not, you can't unclip in time. You're not familiar unclipping. Well, don't, you get that brand new bike, put flat pedals on there for starters, work your way into it, to use this kind of easier way into it model. Don't know how to brake safely going downhill. Coach April, we did the climbing in the camp, in the bike camp. We took a group up into the hills, and that was very much to teach,
Yes.
we did some practice in a parking lot first. Said, imagine you're taking a descending turn. How do you control the bike? And then so, things like that. Mentally overwhelmed instead of focused, right? If your mind is not in it, or you're stressed, you're panicked, you're scared, you're not able to think straight. Let's just say it, right? The amygdala is all fired up and you're in kind of fight or flight mode. Read your environment, read yourself, make sure you're doing stuff when you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, hey, slow down for yellow lights. You can't recover your rhythm after a disruption. I was thinking of the trail half marathon I did a few months ago, and I just I ate shit. I hit a root, my foot hit a root, I went right down, and but I've run this course so many times, I've run this race so many times, I just jumped up and just kept going. Yeah, my heart rate spiked, and I'm sure my body was just flooded with adrenaline. But if you can't, like, if that something happens to you and you're like really shook up, yeah, maybe, ease into trail running a little bit, and fatigue that is so fast that your safety declines. And I really think, Lauren, the example of open water, like if you go out into open water, take it easy. First of all, make sure you got a swim safe buoy. But when you start out, like, get acclimated first, take time and start off slow. You've got your first 70.3. Let's say your first 70.3 open water swim this year, early season, first open water you've done of the season. You going to go out there and, try to smack out your fastest 100? No. You're going to go as easy zone one as you can to, just make sure that you're feeling safe and stable. Don't spike that heart rate. And then apply to running too, right? Coming out of the gate in a 5K, too strong or too fast. Starting your FTP at a too high of a wattage, right? All of those things. April.
Yes, I had a flashback to my first 70.3, which was in Galveston, and I was so excited. It's a jump from a pier, right? Well, I decided to do a cannonball off the pier. And then I got in the water and immediately got swam over top of, which I'd never had happen before. And it was a good test for me to be able to calm myself down in the water, but I can imagine, and I saw others unfortunately get pulled from the water. And it is one of those things that if you're not exposed to it and you don't know what your boundaries are, it can be very shocking in the moment. And it is one of those things where safety is paramount. And we want to make sure that everybody not only enters safely, but exits as well. So we're going to continue on with our warning signs here, but this one rings true for me here. I have in the past thought I needed a little luck, not skill, to stay safe. So when you catch yourself thinking, man, I got lucky I didn't fall or panic, that is a sign that the environment is exceeding your current abilities and luck is doing more work than technique. And you can't always rely on luck. If you can't follow the plan because you're just surviving, that is another indicator that you're outside of your limits. If you intend to work on drills, rhythm, or pacing, but end up simply trying to avoid crashing, slipping, or swallowing water, the skill demands are too far ahead of your readiness at this point. If you have experienced athletes, coaches, lifeguards, leaders in your circle, and they are telling you that it is unsafe for your current level, I do recommend you give a listen. This
Excellent advice. Yes.
Yeah, it's just sage advice. It's definitely coming from a place of love, and it can absolutely save you from making some major detrimental mistakes. So if a coach, lifeguard, or a more experienced training partner says conditions are beyond your ability today, that external feedback is a strong indicator that the risk isn't worth taking. And that doesn't mean that you aren't going to gain the skill over time. It just means that currently today, this is probably outside your range, and that's okay. We'll get there. So those are great.
Awesome, guys. Nice tips.
Yeah.
Let's be safe out there.
Let's be safe and smart. Yeah. And work to gain those skills in that progressive manner, like Lauren talked about, with not just getting under a squat bar, loading 225 on there and hoping that luck is on your side. I guarantee it is not. Gravity will win. Yeah, gravity will win. So you can definitely stretch outside your comfort zone, but do it in a safe and healthy, effective, progressive manner. And that brings us to the unsafe fun segment I am bringing you both to. Are you ready for this?
Ready as always. Nice.
Yes. I'm going to throw you both into the heart of the Winter Olympics since we are just now kicking off what is to be an incredible event and experience. So, with the Winter Olympics in full swing, I thought I'd test something important, not just fitness, grit, but confidence. This is confidence on ice. Get it? The Winter Olympics on ice. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
The segment where we drop triathletes into the Winter Olympics with zero prep, unlimited confidence. Like we talked about, this is not a good combination, and absolutely no regard for physics. So, of course, there's no right answers. We're not giving coaching caveats. We're just being really honest. Let's do it. All right. Here's the first question. If you had to compete in one event at the Winter Olympics tomorrow with zero prep, which event are you choosing and why?
Oh my gosh.
Curling.
Curling. Oh, great choice.
I mean, I'm just thinking of the one sport that like doesn't
You would
like
survive?
Well, to me, I'm like, well, survive, yes, like bobsled, downhill, what
Figure
I mean,
skating? That's death blades right
no
there.
way, right? Yeah, I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't do. It's really because that's the only thing I could possibly do, which has also tortured me because, and I'm sorry for curling fans, but I'm like, not an Olympic sport.
Oh, that is a polarizing opinion right there. My
Ooh,
Minnesota
I
fans
know.
would be
Shots
upset.
fired.
The shots are
Fired.
fired. Woo.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
mean,
it's
I
getting
would,
spicy.
I'm going
It's
down.
heating up.
I'm going down, huh? Okay. I'm gonna watch the mail come in now, folks.
I
Watch
know.
the comments.
unfollows. No, I'm just kidding. All of a sudden. This is tough because I would probably just be awful at every single one or break a bone. And it's funny, my thought was maybe I would do figure skating. I would be awful at figure skating. The last time I went ice skating was a couple of years ago with my sister, and I fell so many times. I wanted to use, they have little things for kids to use where you can just hold something in front of you.
Oh, a chair.
So I would do figure skating and I'd get disqualified, but I would come out with one of those things and do like as if it was a duet, me and my little
Your chair.
chair support buddy, because I would fail no matter what at any of these things. So I'll see what happens with me and my fake partner on figure skating.
Well, I love the idea of seeing you in like a sequin suit with flames and bright pink, and I think that would be amazing.
Yeah. So if I'm gonna suck, I might as well look good sucking.
The death blades. That got me. I would never do figure skating. Yeah, but that's awesome. I think I'm gonna go with snowboarding as my winter sport and just act and pretend like I'm Shaun White, the flying tomato. That would be the coolest if I could land that.
Wouldn't it?
Yes. All right. Rich, now you cannot say the same answer for this next one. I'm just throwing it out there, right? Which Winter Olympic sport looks deceptively easy on TV but would absolutely humble you in real life?
Oh, well, definitely like Nordic skiing.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like the skill. I mean, like those guys are there's just guys and girls. They're so graceful. I mean, like skate skiing, it is freaking hard. That one, or God, can I say more than one? Like speed skating. I was thinking of speed skating.
Yeah,
like,
that looks amazing.
Apollo Ono, just in crashing out. Or back to your example, Shaun White, crashing in the half pipe. That just freaking terrifies me. Okay, I guess it all terrifies me is the point. But side note, Morgan, my daughter, the zookeeper, has a sign. Her helmet is signed by Shaun White.
Get out!
Wow.
They both actually have helmets that are signed by Shaun White because we saw him at the Dew Tour and Breckenridge, and we sat there at the bottom of the run with Sharpies and helmets in hand, and he would just come by and sign stuff.
Wow.
Oh,
How about
that's
that?
so freaking cool.
It was so cool. He has like these snowboard pants just look like jeans, but they're not. They're like, he's like so stylish, that guy.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Anyway.
He's a classic, wonderful memory that I have of watching the Olympics growing up.
Oh,
Yeah. I think I would say maybe bobsledding.
Yeah.
yes.
That looks like
What?
I'd be like, give me a snow tube or something. I don't know. In my mind, it seems like it's obviously a challenging sport because otherwise more people would be like, I'm going to just be a professional bobsledder. So for me, I'm going to go with bobsledding. That I think it would be like, and plus I feel like if I could do it, it would be tons of fun. It's like, yeah.
Did you see,
Yeah.
do you watch SNL?
Yes.
I haven't watched it.
Did you see the
recently.
skit? Did you see the skit last week with the person who they're trying to like force into the, I guess it may, I don't know if it was the bobsled or it was the, the, whatever they call it, the skeleton. And like, no. And the coach just threw her down the chute.
I saw.
I don't want to go.
There was a post once with an athlete who was training and she was doing something crazy with like the treadmill, like off the side of it, but like almost like in like a high plank, kicking one leg on the treadmill, and was like people staring at me, not knowing what I'm training for and thinking that like, and then flashing to her being, and I don't remember who it was, but it was for the Olympics. So this was probably about 4 years ago. And it was like, when you see her doing the training and then you see her actually performing in her sport, you're like, oh my God, that looks exactly like it. But nobody's thinking of skeleton. Nobody's like, that might be what she's doing. But I mean, and clearly she's an athlete, amazing shape. I'm looking at it like, I kind of want to do that workout now.
Yeah. Ooh. All right. Which Winter Olympic athlete do you think would secretly crush a triathlon? And which discipline would be their downfall?
I mean, I don't know enough of the winter triathletes. So I'm going to go with Shaun White just because I would say he's got enough.
You got style points.
Yeah. I just think that he would be like all out and it wouldn't matter what he was doing on the bike. Like he could ride probably any bike course and just crush it.
Yeah.
So I'll go with him.
Okay.
I'm going to go with one who did it, Apollo Ono. He did the Ironman World Championship too.
Oh wow!
I had no idea.
How about that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was quite a few years ago, but it was one of those. Ironman, NBC feature stories and stuff. I think at the time.
All right, last question for our fun segment: if triathlon were added to the Winter Olympics, what ridiculous modification would make it the most entertaining to watch?
I'm going back to ice skating and thinking that like the run would have to be like ice skating across somewhere.
I would like that.
Yeah. I mean, people would be going fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have to be a sprint. It would have to be a sprint triathlon.
Yes.
Where you're just doing like a 5K all out on the ice.
That would be so cool.
And seeing how fast you could do a 5K ice skating.
I think that's perfect. I think you do everything on the ice, including, so you do the run, just like you said, on the ice, right? And I really think if you want to make it ridiculous, right? No spikes. You just get plain old running shoes. Let's see how you do out there, folks.
That's murder.
fat bikes on ice, fine. That sounds all groovy, but you got to pump your tires up to at least, 30 PSI, which there's no way you're going to be able to go anywhere. And that's the swim part of it. What do you do for the swim part of it?
I mean, I'm just picturing broken up ice blocks, like people swimming through it. I mean, you'd have to
open water swim,
crazy gear, unless you have to do like snorkeling.
There's a rope going across the lake, and you've got to pull yourself on the ice.
I think we just created a new sport.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
Duh.
But that's because, and hey, the pulling is like you're using your lats, you're using your upper body. So instead of pulling through the water, you're not catching and pulling in the water. You're just catching the rope and pulling it.
You're sitting on a block of ice, pulling yourself across the ice.
Yeah. So it's all upper body.
Yeah. So you pull yourself. Yeah. You pull yourself, you get to your transition one, you drive your fat tire bike, ride it back, and then you drop the bike, put the skates on, and you skate back.
Yeah.
Liz Collar, if you're listening, this is Armageddon, like on steroids.
Extreme.
So
yes.
Yeah, extreme. This is extreme Armageddon. Let's connect. You're the race director. We've got the idea. We're going to blow it apart. Here we go.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that settles it. Endurance fitness gives you confidence, but ice, speed, and gravity don't care how tough you are. But we will be bringing you this ice competition straight to, hopefully, maybe one day to the Olympics. How cool would that be? Thank you so much for participating and having fun with me in our Winter Olympic edition of our fun segment. We want to know where you land. Are you team curling? Or are you tossing that aside? Which Winter Olympic event would you choose? And which one would you send straight to the sidelines? Tag us, comment on our socials, or drop us a message and include confidence on ice so we know that you're playing along.
That was one of the funnest fun segments we've ever done. That was just nutty. Awesome. I'm sure everybody is with us still because that was just so engaging. That was so much stinking fun. What?
I was going to say, we might have some takers on this winter triathlon. We might.
Oh, this is happening. Liz, we got to talk.
Yeah.
Hey, before we start to wrap things up here, guys, this was a lot of fun. I want to just revisit something. We didn't talk about this during announcements, but I just want to acknowledge and thank all of our new Team Limitless through TriDot, the mentor program. We, bringing in nearly 1,000 female athletes into the sport, giving them a year of free training and access to mentors. We had a great time welcoming them. And if they're listening, so if you joined us and now you're a part of our team, you're listening to the podcast, we just want you to hear, we are so glad you're with us. So anything else you guys want to say about this week and how that went?
I mean, I'm just extremely excited that we have the opportunity to welcome more people into the sport, bring more people into the Grit to Greatness community, and just make an impact, because that's something that I know we're all grateful that we get to do. And it is, we've talked about this before, the butterfly effect, the ripple effect that we get to create. And I, every time I say wholeheartedly, April, I think of you, but I wholeheartedly believe that what we're doing between Limitless and even Velocity and as a team is creating this butterfly ripple effect into the universe. So I'm just really, really grateful that we get to do it.
I second everything Lauren just said, captured beautifully. We have an awesome privilege to work with these ladies, and I can't wait to see what comes of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Limitless team, and thank you, Vespa. We want to give a shout out to Vespa Power Endurance. It helps you tap into clean, steady energy so you can be training strong, focused, and in the zone longer. Vespa is not fuel, but a metabolic catalyst that shifts your body to use more fat and less sugar as your fuel source. It's going to save you some gels, and it is going to help you really perform. It comes in a number of products, less sugar, higher performance, faster recovery. Go to, we've got the link here in the show notes here. It will take you to their website, and the code 303 Endurance 20 will get you 20% off of your very first order. After that, there's a link in here also and a code for 15% off of orders thereafter. G2G Vespa 15 is that code. Also, don't forget to sign up for TriDot Pool School in Colorado Springs and take advantage of that discount. And thanks for spending time with us today on the Grit to Greatness Endurance podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please follow us on Instagram at G2G Endurance and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. It helps us reach more athletes just like you. Stay gritty, train smart, and keep chasing greatness. We will catch you next week.